segment of the closed fist. Russ, that's Joey, and then that is Will. Angry old man.
That's going to be your character in wrestling.
So
You're going to come out with a cane. Get off my lawn!
Man. Yeah, had a big debut this week. Bobby Roode.
glorious.
Love Bobby Roode, but hate the hand thing. I don't know what that is.
He lost the title at NXT TakeOver Brooklyn to Drew McIntyre, and right then and there, we had a feeling that he was going to get. We all had a feeling that he was going to get called up soon, but it's like, yeah.
I think it was a lot. It was very lackluster of a match. Thank you. It's one of those mornings. His debut on SmackDown,
Aiden English, yeah,
and almost not losing, but we knew he was going to win. But it was a terrible match.
Yeah, I mean,
I was expecting to come in and just destroy.
Yeah, but what are your feelings about him going on the SmackDown version, on the SmackDown side of things? Is it does that suit him? Does he fit in?
I think he's one of the smaller, not that he's small, but he's one of those smaller guys. He can fit in well with the SmackDown stars.
Yeah, he fits on SmackDown. I would have put him on Raw. He would not have done anything on Raw.
Okay, how is he going to go against Braun?
And then he would have been destroyed.
Yeah, but I mean, are we starting to see SmackDown guys and Raw guys? I mean, are we defining?
Yeah, I think SmackDown's your more smaller, athletic, high flyers, where you have Vince's favorite monsters on Raw.
It's the flagship show.
Exactly, but he loves those big guys, and that's look at SummerSlam's main event.
Yep.
Those were all big dudes. The smallest guy was Samoa Joe.
But here's the thing that also happened at NXT TakeOver Brooklyn. Adam Cole, a very well-known Ring of Honor champion, and did some stuff with New Japan and also brought a couple of his buddies over from Ring of Honor, and Bobby Fish and Kyle O'Reilly. They debuted on NXT TakeOver Brooklyn. Now, Adam Cole is about 200 pounds. Ish. You see guys like Finn Balor and a lot of the other smaller guys get buried. They get that initial
because there's
pop.
so many of them now.
But what else is out there?
Well, I know. I'm just saying.
That's just it.
There's so many. There's so many of those. Like 210-pound dudes, all right. Are you? Am I really going to take you seriously as the heavyweight champion of the world?
But the thing is, they do so well. They do so well and get so well received down in NXT that when they come up to the main roster, it's like they all of a sudden don't know what to do with them.
As a wrestler, and you're coming off of Ring of Honor or New Japan, and you're a champion, and you go to basically the farm league. I mean, it's a show, but you're on the farm league and you're stuck there for 2 years.
Right.
And they bring you up, and then you get a lackluster entrance to the big show.
Right.
How does that make you feel as a wrestler?
Well, and not only that, but how do other guys who may be thinking about going to WWE and NXT and whatnot?
Who wants to sit on the farm show for 2 years?
Who wants to go there only to get what? I mean, they're watching the same thing that we are. They're watching the same guys that we are get the initial pop and then get buried. Why would you want to put yourself through that?
And they're also watching these guys on this. Not that it's a farm show, but it's a farm show at the end of the day.
Right.
Some of these guys are getting hurt.
Hee-haw?
Well, yeah.
Farm show?
Yeah.
Okay, all right, sorry. Okay, go ahead.
Hee-haw. But I mean, and some of these guys get hurt, and they're risking their career to be on.
Yeah, but
not the main.
I think NXT is the cooler show to be on.
Oh, it definitely is.
Right now, you know what I mean? It's because all the indie marks are out there, and they're like all their guys, the 210-pounders, or who super kick everybody. Right. They're all there. You know what I mean? And I know that's what's popular right now. It's what's popular.
Oh, yes, ask Randy Orton.
But. But I'm saying the NXT guys all go there, or they go to NXT. And it's the cool show, right?
It is the cool show, and I think it should be on a network instead of not the network.
Kind of what you said about all these part-timers now, so NXT has kind of become, if you're in the know and it's cool, you watch NXT. You know what I mean? Like, all the regular everyday people, all the kids watch Raw and SmackDown.
Right.
Yeah.
But you know what? I mean, watching Adam Cole make his debut, I'm like, I've seen his work. He does well. He's a good talent, but I just don't see him getting
that push
on the main roster when he makes it. It's like, ugh.
That's the thing. Is everybody, WWF, WWE has been the highest echelon of the business for a very, very long time. Everybody wants to be there. Everybody wants to go. So they're taking that chance of, hey, I'll go do the bullshit stuff for a year down at NXT and I'll move my way up. But is it worth throwing your career at possibly being a champ for New Japan or anywhere?
Well, let's put it this way. There are guys out there like Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks that are making a very good living doing what they're doing, and they have a very good reputation, and they have their own allegiance of fans. By going to the WWE, they give up their creative abilities, and now they have to share in their merchandise.
Yep.
I would rather. Maybe those guys are an example because of the history with Kenny Omega and that whole thing. Mm-hmm. But you have I would rather probably be on NXT than in Ring of Honor.
Would you rather be on NXT than the main roster?
That's the question. Would you take a chance at possibly ending your career in NXT from an injury?
Ending your career in NXT?
You get hurt and you can't go.
Or work the main roster for 6 months and get buried.
Yeah.
Which one would you rather do?
I mean, would you?
I'd do NXT all day long.
Yeah. I mean, or a bigger. I mean, I guess, and you just brought it up. Would you rather be the top dog in like New Japan, or would you go to NXT?
I think it depends on where New Japan goes in the future.
That's right.
Well,
I mean, there's a lot of these little.
I think we're holding a lot of weight. We're holding a lot of weight on we always talk New Japan.
What about NWA?
Give them a year and see. They've done one show in America.
But
everybody's jumping on their bandwagon right now.
These other companies are coming up, though. I mean, we were talking earlier about. We're talking earlier about Billy Corgan and NWA. Yep. I mean, they're going to come out of somewhere. I mean, TNA is now whatever the hell it is.
Global Force.
They're eventually going to make a move of some sort because they can't keep losing money.
Their roster recently.
But you go to WWE, you got buried, and you're one of those guys that everybody liked. You're going to get released. Where are you going to go?
Yeah.
You're going to get over to Global Force and be one of their top guys.
You're going to. I mean, okay. Well, here's a question that maybe crystallizes everything. Would you be a guy? Would you go over to, if you are an independent guy and you have a chance to be the top dog at Global Force, a top dog at Ring of Honor, a top dog for New Japan, or would you go to, say, a chance to make the main roster by going to NXT, knowing full well that you more than likely will get buried on the main roster,
and you can't do what you do. They tell you what to do,
and you don't have not even a tenth of the creative control.
Look at the Hardys.
I'm like, what kind of career do you want?
What kind of career do you want?
Yeah.
That's the question.
Yeah.
Because you take a year shot on the main roster, stamp that you now stamped your career. You could. I say this, you're probably not going to agree with me, but you could go anywhere now.
Yeah.
You can go anywhere. You can go to any federation. You can go to Japan. You can go to a local New York State one, and former WWE pro, you know what I mean? Like, you've stamped your career.
But you gotta get past TNA. Or not TNA, NXT, sorry.
Well, I'm saying, but if you get through NXT, or you even go to NXT at this point, we're talking about it almost like it's a main roster anyway. So I'm just saying, you've pretty much, once you get to WWE, it's the big time regardless. You've stamped your career. So these flyers, these local promotions, or anybody else could go. You could go anywhere and make money.
But the
Cody Rhodes.
The underlying thing.
But is it all about money, though?
But
what are you doing? Are you doing it for the accolades? Are you doing it for the money? They're doing it for the love of the business. Yeah, sure.
I mean,
okay.
Well, you know what? The love of the business is
it's
a
what
given.
Starts it.
That's a given.
Starts it.
Yeah.
That's a given. You have to love the business.
Oh
yeah, of course.
You have to. But the thing, I mean, giving up that at some point when you go to the main roster and you do get buried, wrestling fans in general will say, well, he didn't make it into WWE.
I disagree with that because of the conversation we're having right now. Because there's so many people out there now who are Ring of Honor and New Japan. There's so many guys that are happier when you don't make it in the WWE. At least the culture of wrestling right now, the climate of this.
But that road after the WWE is a 10-time harder road.
Cody Rhodes.
Speaking of Rhodes, one of the Road Warriors just fell.
Cody Rhodes, Kenny Omega,
exactly,
all the guys we name.
But they had to go out there and do twice as much to prove that there's something.
But the story about Kenny Omega was he was only with he didn't even make it to the main roster. He was in their developmental territory in 2005 or 2006, I forget. It's around that time period, and. So he didn't even make it to the main roster. Nobody knew who Kenny Omega was until he got to New Japan and Ring of Honor.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, but I'm just saying
right.
that the climate of wrestling today is, and what you're saying is after you leave WWE or after, it's harder for you. I completely disagree. I think you've stamped your career. You could go anywhere. Former WWE superstar. They would never say that in Japan or in Ring of Honor, but they could. You take that ticket and you can go anywhere with it.
Now, do you
or maybe not be the richest, but you could have a long, healthy career in wrestling.
But do you give more street cred? And I guess we had this conversation as well. To a guy that has been with WWE their whole career, or do you give more street cred to a guy that was able to make it in more than one federation?
It's the Cena versus Ric Flair conversation we had.
Yeah, kind of, sort of.
Because Ric Flair has gone from territory, from show to show, and that's how he won his 16 titles.
Right.
Cena was handed the title 16 times in the same company as Super Cena.
Right.
How much credit do you get as that? Would Cena survive elsewhere?
Okay, here's a better question. Does Kenny Omega have more street cred than John Cena?
No.
You sure about that?
I absolutely not. How?
I mean, what Kenny Omega
excluding the little kid watching
what
portion of of wrestling. Like people like us, our age.
Yeah, and before the little kid, the first 5 years of his career coming out of OVW, after OVW, Cena with the whole Doctor of Thugonomics, and then he was whether you like the gimmick or not, it was funny.
That's when I liked him, when he was a heel.
Exactly. Yeah. I'm just saying so I'm getting away from this. I don't care about the street or the little kids thing.
Right,
I don't give a shit about that, pardonly. But how Cena's the biggest star.
I'm not talking about star. I'm not talking about star. I'm talking about you had the wrestling fan. Mm-hmm. Okay, street. I mean, okay? And I guess a follow-up question is there some? I don't want to say hatred, but maybe some angst against WWE superstars. I mean, I'm not talking about Dolph Ziggler type of star, but against guys like John Cena.
Stars.
Yeah. I mean, against guys like John Cena who didn't go anywhere else. Mm-hmm. Well, that's all he did. Vince just handed him the title, just like what Joey said. And then you see guys like Kenny Omega, who's done it in New Japan, who's done
busted their ass all over the world to become
busting their ass all over the world
because they couldn't make it in the big leagues.
But then you get drawn in and you're put on the farm show.
But how
for another chance?
There was no farm show.
He's on the farm show now.
10 years ago, but
no, right.
You're talking about the comparison.
No, what I'm saying is he's gone over the world and he's fought to be where he's at now.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
To the point where now the WWE wants another chance with him to bring him back.
Right.
Do they?
Yeah.
And
do they?
Well, I mean, he just showed up.
Who did?
Kenny Omega.
No, in WWE?
When he came to.
I'm not sorry. I got a little.
I was like, Kenny Omega's never going back to WWE. Never say never in wrestling.
Right. But you have these guys that are out there that are making a living and doing well without being.
Got Cole and Omega stuff backwards. Sorry.
Right. But now that you have Adam Cole making his debut there, I mean, he gave up a lot. Yeah, I think that's what we're getting.
Yeah.
You're
giving
guys,
up. You're at the top. You're Hulk Hogan giving up the WWF title to go to New Japan and be a mid-level card guy.
Did you hit a wall then? I mean, how long was he champion Ring of Honor for? How long was he in Ring of Honor
He was
for?
multiple. Well, you know what? I mean, that's the thing, yeah.
Was he? I'm not saying he is, but was he their version of a Cena, like a person who's been in that company, won multiple titles? What else are you going to do? Where does everybody want to go? Right. At the end of the day, truly at the end of the day, the pinnacle of this business is the WWE.
But I guess one aspect of it is that if you're already well known, and you got done saying that you stamp your career by saying, oh, you see former WWE superstar, blah blah blah, this and the other guy. But in the case of like Adam Cole and other guys, do you need that stamp?
Well, I guess he thought he did.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, yeah.
He's there now.
Yeah. But for those guys who aren't working for Vince, maybe they feel like that they don't need it, because I can't tell you how many times on Twitter, as soon as Adam Cole, as soon as he made his debut, oh well, WWE's going to get Kenny Omega, they're going to get the Young Bucks, blah blah blah, this thing, the other thing, and I'm like, no, they're not. No, they're not.
Well, my thing is, like we said, you never say never in wrestling, because you never know. Because there could, who knows? CM Punk could come back someday. You never know. You never know, because this business is what happens. Like Flair going to WWE in 1990. He said he would never go when it was WWF. He would never go to the WWF.
Yep.
He said, and all of a sudden he shows up at Madison Square Garden.
Yep.
So you never can't tell, but. Yeah, we'll see.
So Cena will never turn heel again.
Yeah, no.
Because that'll never happen.
Who's that? Cena?
Yeah. Now, where does this leave Bobby Roode? I mean, how long
Looking
do you
for beer money?
How long do you? Very good, very good. How long do you give Bobby Roode?
I think he's over right now.
He's definitely over right now.
Over, yeah.
He's over.
That's because of what he did in NXT.
I think he needs to be a bad guy.
Yeah.
I personally, he's so over with that entrance. I know you don't like the move part thing, but he's so over with that entrance. But he needs to be. He was so much better when he was a bad guy. He was a bad guy. So much better.
He can't. He doesn't. His persona, his presence, his look. He's. Yeah. I definitely agree. I give him 6 months. Yeah. After, I think 6 months is like
6 months to a year.
Yeah, I think that 6 month period is where you kind of see
SummerSlam
direction.
to SummerSlam.
Yeah.
And give him an AJ program.
That would be
awesome.
good.
Yes.
That would definitely be good. Another guy that we just got done seeing a highlight of, and this kind of guy that's kind of been under the radar a little bit, Aleister Black.
Yeah, like him.
Like him a lot.
I haven't seen much, but what I've seen, I'm impressed.
I mean, he's kind of like your heavy metal, and like you said, heavy metal version of CM Punk.
Yeah.
Or whatever like that. Now, there's a guy that's like maybe 6 foot, about 200 pounds.
He's another one.
It's like, okay, yeah, bring him up to the main roster. You got to put him on SmackDown. That's number one. But number two, where do you go with him after that? It's like you start to see a pattern. You start to see a pattern of guys going up to NXT. They get that initial push. They get that pop. And then after that, it's like, okay, now let's see where you're going.
Comes down to what the writers do with them and what creative does with them. Because, I mean, you can make or break somebody's career in the WWE if you're given a shitty storyline.
Oh, my God.
Well, I think that's the whole thing that we were talking about. The size of the new generation of wrestler right now is about anywhere between 200 to 225 right now, and
because they can pull more off.
Yeah.
There's so much the business is lacking so much in big guys right now. Not just big guys, but big athletic guys. I mean, Braun Strowman is a freak of nature with what he can do in the ring.
Doing that pop up off his back is unreal.
For 380 pounds?
Yeah.
Ugh.
Samoa Joe.
Samoa Joe. I mean,
Samoa Joe's another one. Yeah.
There's another one, but that's
so sad that he's not getting pushed. Sorry, I had to throw it in there this week.
They're there.
Yeah.
They're there.
And I know how I feel about Bray.
But you know what though? But it's like there's such a lack of athletic big men that now it's like, okay, Adam Cole, we'll take you.
Right.
You're well known. Okay, we'll take in Kenny Omega. Please come back. But it's like.
Honestly, I think it's a money grab by the WWE.
Oh, absolutely it is.
All it really comes down to is they want to make money off these guys.
And you know what's going to wind up carrying the WWE? 3MB.
Yes.
I mean, they are holding quite a few titles.
Drew
Two-thirds of 3MB is now a champion.
Drew McIntyre is the heavyweight champion down in NXT. Looks like he's going to be feuding with Adam Cole, but he's the NXT heavyweight champion.
Jinder Mahal
is the heavyweight champion.
Heath Slater, him and Brock Lesnar.
He's got kids. He needs a title.
Him versus Brock Lesnar. Book it.
What do you? Heath Slater. Can you just give him the Intercontinental belt from
something?
Just something. I mean, I'll drive him up this belt.
They should have put him in the Miz Taraj.
Oh.
And then have him turn on the Miz. There you go.
There you go.
And then have him come out and say, "I got kids."
Yeah.
But you know, I mean, Drew McIntyre, he's going to be on the main roster at some point. He was the chosen one at one point.
I wasn't a big fan of him at first, but
it could very well happen that 3MB, each of them could have a main roster title within a year.
That would be,
and they're going to reform. And they reform.
The sure sign of the apocalypse.
Oh my God!
If all three of them have some form of a title on the main roster, or in NXT as well, but
they're just going to come back together for one night only at a pay-per-view. It's going to happen.
What was it? Oh God! What was the name of that? Oh yeah, and then we'll have a triple threat match. Maybe not a triple threat, but a six-man tag with 3MB versus 3 Count. The boy band from WCW.
Oh,
yes,
boy.
I went there.
Wow.
You just brought up 3MB.
Wow.
No, I brought up 3 Count.
3 Count, 3MB.
Because you have one member of Breezango. You have, or is it Breezango?
Yes.
No. He looks like him, but the kid's
they
retired.
look like him, yeah.
Sugar Shane Helms, and I can't remember the other guy.
There's a reason why you don't remember the other guys.
That's right. True.
Is that buried on the main roster?
They're buried in Vince's backyard.
Yeah.
Along with Corbin.
Etch out the tombstone. He's done.
He's done.